I was groomed in the womb. I'ma shine my light till they put me in my tomb. I'ma shine so bright they can see me from the moon. And my rhyme so tight you can see it in sassoons. The Billy jeans, skinny jeans. Ever since a skinny teen, iron been hot, yeah. Ever since the penny scene, good times. By any means, stacking the cream. The luggage, the hats, the slacks and the jeans. Double G, ribbon streams, red, black, and the green. I am so colored, the Moors is at war with the long arm of the law. I am so gullah, I am so Gaza, I am so geeky. You clowns is down with the crown, and that's oh so cheechy. You niggas is open over pink toes. The wise will strive to civilize the Ocho Cinco. The great divine speak through signs, yeah they opening up sinkholes. The rise of a mentor, rise of Serpenta. The greatest story never to be told, waiting to be told. Only thing missing is a narrator. The seven seas waiting to be explored. The only thing missing is the navigators. Turn the average hater into a savage hater. For hearts too dark, the lighter just aggravates ya. Young Heru standing on top of these alligators, holding serpents and scorpions in both hands. Supreme Master, Grand Dragon of both lands. The height of the light is threefold. I'm a sight to behold. I'm heating up around the globe, but I reserve my right to be cold. They call me King Filch, nigga. Live visions of the throne, they got plans for the gods. Minx the high priestess, real name Farad Salam. First let me extend my salam so I get back to my murder game, killing them with charm. I'm a don in all aspects, use the swag to triple up my assets. Got the formula, I've been had my mind right. Flash forward, I caught it in my hindsight. Not a time right, pass it to the masses. PowerPoint the classes, braille no glasses. Teach them how to pull milk out of corn, hydroplating in the rain. I'll be weathering the storm. No droughts, every cactus has a spout. And currency just mean there's always money flowing about. And once you see past the mere riches, then you can go back up in the matrix and repair the glitches. It is what it be, we change what we can. And dollars can be started just from change from a can, or change from your man. Momentum is the key, a mill in your path, man, you heard it from the G, the God.
The King Don exposed you queens with wands. For non-profit it's an easy bomb. In this life I delete your bond. Turn a hater cold with heat, we keep for harm. Money machine I was made to bake, and it's nothing sweet yet I make that cake that make you shake, cause you know you fake. And I'm the light that is shining now, blinding your fate. Wow, you climbing much lower than great. Not even knowledge and wisdom can revive your state. Like a crossover, my one tools create the illusion that I'm crooked, but the path I walk is straight. Since my beginning of time, born to flow 30 moons ago, dirty and snow, no homo, we work with a blow and foes burn slow as our product position the place to grow.
Survivors of urban danger, messiahs from urban mangers endangered. Last of a species, my race ain't up for debate. My fee be inclusive, a place of food for thought. My casseroles is actual and factual. Many bars is magical. We all emerged out the bush, but we far from vaginal. Who would have thought we chuck the deuces, but we govern my bars? So animal instincts are just blink into a fucking ruthless guard. It's always in my cards. Just think of mortals in war mode. The thought alone just thinks like feces, or how fish think. Man, these niggas is soft at the crust like these knows. So just blink and arise from the dream that you can defeat me, or you can unseat me from my throne. We reign supreme on these microphones, and the twins want my biz grown. We finna fuck up the hood.
Peace, family. Welcome to the Ringing Stone Network. I'm going to be your host tonight. My name is Qasim Rael. Okay, we will be presenting tonight part 2 of the show that we aired 2 weeks ago when we had Brother Red Pill, up on the show. And for those who are not familiar with Red Pill, okay, and Blue Pill is a brother, he may, come in on the show tonight as well. There are 2 brothers that have been, had one of the top blog short talk, talk shows, and they definitely have done their thing. They've had greats, such as Dr. Francis Welsing, Brother Delbert Blair, Dick Gregory, Professor Griff, Reverend Phil Valentine, Brother Ray Higgins, Wesley Muhammad, Brother Polite, Roz Benz, Dr. Sabi, Dr. Africa, the list goes on. Okay, and without question, we are so glad to have him back tonight, okay, to finish, what he was expounding on, which will be the subconscious versus the superconscious and how to effectively reprogram our thoughts, both individually and collectively. The thought can lead to collective action and collective economics for the future. Okay, so let me see if he's on the line. Brother Red, are you there?
Peace, peace. Yes, I am. Greetings.
Peace, you're there. Okay, good to hear you, man. Good to have you back on the show.
Well, I had to make sure this time around I was the first caller because I was listening to the archives of the last show. It was very unprofessional that I wasn't able to make it there in time due to some technical difficulties, but we made sure that, we improved on this time. So I'm here. We're going to make
we
time available.
Right. We understand you're busy, man. You got, things. Glad to have you in the building. Hopefully, Blue Pill might join in tonight. Is that true?
Oh, no. Yeah. We're in Harlem right now at
okay.
There's a class that we've been attending for 7 years. Every Wednesday we've been consistent. The Moorish Heritage and Civics class, where we learn about our heritage, where we learn about history, and where we learn about civics from an angle that is definitely not taught in school and things of that nature. So we've been students and also, participants in vending, doing commerce with the family for 7 years straight. So we're here in Harlem at the National Black Theater. So the brother's definitely in the building, so he will be joining us very soon. Yes, sir. All right,
cool. Now, what would you like to kick it off with? What would you like to expound on initially? Would you, I know you want to continue from last week, so I'm going to just, let you go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, I definitely want to pick up where I left off. Brother, it's the other door over there. I want to pick up where I left off last 2 weeks ago, and like the brother stated in the title, we're just going to be dealing with, practical solutions tonight. But before we get to that, I want to bring information dealing with the subconscious, dealing with the superconscious, dealing with our mental state as a people, dealing with the fact that collective thought will lead to collective action, and then we'll be able to see collective results, because ever so often we have individuals in the family that are achieving results, and that's beautiful. That is a great thing to see. But we know that collectively we are suffering, as a people. There are issues that we have that we have to solve collectively, because ever so often, it doesn't really feel good or look good to the collective, when we're suffering and we have all of these issues that are hindering us, and there's one amongst us that might make it through, and then it begins to look like that one is, quote unquote, flossing or shoving it in our face, or, bragging when he or she explains that they made it out, or they're successful and things of that nature. And I'm only saying this because of what I'm seeing. I'm not generalizing anything. This is something that I'm witnessing in real time, from the reactions that I'm seeing people take towards brothers and sisters that are successful. There was an incident this Sunday in New York City. I live in New York City. There was a rapper that was slain, shot 15 times, and the resounding message that was being echoed by other rappers and other people, via social media and other forms, mainstream media, with the fact that we as a people have a crab in a barrel mentality, and those of us who make it out the quote-unquote hood need to stay out the hood, because if you come back to the hood, you could be susceptible to that crab in a barrel mentality, which ultimately could lead to your death, right?
Okay.
I don't 100% agree with that, and in so many ways that I feel that if we are successful and we've made it out of our hoods or our neighborhoods, it is indicative of us to come back and help, those hoods that we left, especially if some of us were responsible for deteriorating and the destruction that took place in those hoods. If we planted the seeds that made it unsafe for our grandmothers to walk through those hoods, why not come back with a plan, or why not come back with resources, or why not come back with a paintbrush and a broom or something? You feel what I'm saying? Because I'm one who, I'm always baffled as to why is it that Europeans are given this lofty, title as regentrifiers and regentrification experts. Like, they're the only ones who could come into your neighborhood and clean it up. Like, there's something special about them. When history shows that we were the regentrifiers, we came into Europe and cleaned the whole country up. Okay, they came into Kemet and we cleaned them up. We stood them up right. We cleaned them up. We put wisdom in their minds. We put knowledge in their heads. We gave them light. You feel what I'm saying? And any honest European who you come across will admit to that. They know the history. They study the history, especially in their Masonic lodges, especially in their Ivy League schools and things of that nature. So they will tell you the truth. They will keep it real with you.
Peace.
But unfortunately, this is Blue right here.
Peace.
Yeah, peace, Blue.
Yes. Peace. Greetings.
Greetings. For the listening audience, this is the brother Blue Pill, the other half of the twin pillars. Him and his brother Red and Blue, they do the show together.
That's my physical twin brother. This is not a gimmick. Like, we are of the same age, split in half.
Yes, identical twins, correct.
But the interesting thing is,
and we provide contrast, especially in conversations such as this, because we don't always agree. You know what I'm saying? But you'll never catch us in disagreement. To add on to what you're saying about the gentrification, I think that what we're looking at is that poverty exists in the minds of our people, and that fits perfectly into tonight's conversation. You understand?
Indeed.
So the European is able to come in that same environment and do something and tweak it in such a short period of time that everybody's looking at each other like, yo, how did they do that? You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, it looks much more habitable. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, it's safe for poodles to walk on the street. All of a sudden, your grandmothers could come out. You know what I'm saying? So why is that? Why are we seeing these phenomena occur from community to community? Because our people, unfortunately, have been uploaded or downloaded, for that matter, with a program that's unsustainable to their own existence. Poverty is a program that's mental, and that's what we have, unfortunately, adapted to. So this particular program goes into the whole aspect of the rapper, or first, the rapper or the hustler turned rapper, you know what I'm saying, where the hustler says, look, I'm going to get on the block with this work because I want to better my condition. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing my mother's working 2 or 3 jobs. You feel me? It's so hard for her. She can't afford me my Jordans. So I'm going to hit the block, and I'm going to get these Jordans for myself, but I'm going to make it so much more harder for her now because she's a target, because I just turned another person into a tweaker, and there's no telling what they're going to do to get a fix. They might go upside her head, grab her bread, and come and see me and get right.
Mm-hmm.
How did I better my community? I compromised my community for my desires because I have this self-esteem issue because, I got on Proc heads as opposed to Jordans. You know what I'm saying? I can't arise above criticism. I can't arise above what somebody else thinks about me in their mind. Their perception of who I am, my perception is broken because I don't have these things. And now we're dealing with our entire value system. I value myself by my physical acquisitions. That's how I'm gauging my success in life. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm gauging my value in society. But again, the gentrifiers are coming here with dirty jeans and sandals on, you know what I'm saying, and be making $25,000 a month, and they start changing up the entire environment, and you never see any physical outward manifestation of their quote-unquote riches. You know, they ain't flossing. You don't see the Rolexes. They ain't jumping out of Bugattis. It's not necessary. So there's a difference that needs to be addressed. So we're seeing the physical manifestation of it on this grand chessboard. That's my observation.
Good observation.
I totally, and I'm sorry, and I do agree. The irony in the whole situation about what happened to the young brother, the father, you know, the artist who lost his life, unfortunately, on Sunday, is that the radio stations in New York are honoring him by playing his music. And I caught a wind. I'm not really familiar with his music. I know that he belonged to a collective called Coke Boys, and they were playing his music. And one of the songs they were playing that they keep repeating to the people, and we spoke about this on the last show, about the programming that's taking place via the media outlets, whether it's the videos, the music, the radio stations that play the same 20 songs repetitively and program both your subconscious, your children's subconscious, even grandma's subconscious. She's getting it too. And the song is called Trap House, and in the song, he mentioned something about catching people and, you know, being able to ride up on somebody and hit them up, you know, and them not being able to get away.
I listened to a portion of the brother's catalog the other night. He has a song called Bodies with Bobby Shmurda and Rowdy Rebel, you know what I'm saying? He has the Trap House song. He has a few other songs. All of his content is involving, you know, getting somebody hit, tearing their head up, never being caught and slip without the pistol, you know what I'm saying? He also has a song called Black Illuminatis where he's talking about, I want to live like the white folks do. I want to kill black people and get away with it like the white folks do. Now, this is not a personal indictment, and I'm not throwing this into the conspiracy pot. I'm just saying we're not dealing with the psychology, right, the consciousness of a hustler per se. Somebody who picks up drugs in the community and decides to engage in the game, you have already made a mental decision, should I say, right? Look, if need be, if necessary, I have entered my name into the lottery to say, if I'm going to ascend in this trade, I'm going to kill a nigga by any means. You know what I'm saying? If it comes to that, you know what I mean? I've already committed myself to say, I'm going to wipe this dude off the face of the earth because I need this territory and I need this block. And if he tries me, I already know what the rules are. So it's a self-defeating paradigm, period. And this is the culture now that we are caught up in. This is what's being fed to the subconscious of children who at the age of 0 to 7, you know, whatever you program with, that's who they become. So while the mother's listening to trap music and the baby's in the stomach, while the father's listening to trap music and the baby's in the car seat, you know what I'm saying? While the mother is listening to trap music and the baby is, you know, coming home from school and trying to get their homework done or what have you. All of that is being implanted and embedded in the subconscious. All of that is creating the program. All of that is giving the child the direction about how to deal with the person that looks just like them who eventually will become their adversary. Because from the mid-90s on, there hasn't been any program set in place that tells that young man or that young woman that their natural-born adversary is somebody who, in my age, was very clear and identifiable who your natural adversary was. And all of that comes with the connotation of how we identify oneself. So when we were dealing with ourselves, the Negro had a counterpart. Black had a counterpart. You know what I'm saying? You know what the quote-unquote reverse of that was. But what's the counterpart to a nigga? The counterpart to a nigga is a bitch nigga, is a snitch nigga, is a weak nigga, is a punk nigga. You know what I'm saying? So that is the dichotomy that has been set up subconsciously and consciously in the minds of the people, and that's where you see this level of aggression come from. Okay? So I liken it to pound or 8 foot, should I say, let's say lions, for that matter, or let's just use the word animal without it being necessarily derogatory,
Okay.
being put into a 4-foot cage, right? And the person who captured these animals is outside of the cage, and they're sitting there with their legs put up, they got their legs kicked up, and they're watching it play out. And these two entities that are within the cage are going to feel a level of discomfort and a level of unfamiliarity because of that discomfort. They're not going to see each other as, part of the same species anymore. They're going to see themselves as adversaries. And because of the discomfort of that cage and because of the scarcity of the food and space, they're going to attack one another. And their focus is never going to be on what's going on outside of the cage. They can't even see that far. So that's what we're looking at, and that's how you can program somebody's subconscious for them to be the biggest threat against themselves. And again, these are just my observations. You know what I'm saying? As I try to make sense of all of this. I'm constantly looking and trying to create explanations to myself so I can sustain my own sanity in this.
Now, somebody might hear what the brother just shared and might say, well, shoot, I'm good because I'm an elder, or I listen to gospel, or I don't listen to ratchet. I'm able to stay away from that. I'm on that jazz vibe. I do smooth music on the way to work. I listen to Taylor Swift. That's my girl. People might say that, and that's understandable. I get it. But what the family should realize, and what we spoke about on the first show, is the fact that the media is all pervasive at this point, at this juncture. My timeline is depressive. On Facebook, my timeline is depression all day, every day. I have 5,000 friends, 3,000 followers. I shift through the information and look for the jewels, and I grab them and repost them and share them. But for the most part, 80% of the information is of a negative connotation at this point in time. I'm going to read from a book. We're going to read from this book, and then we'll build from it. The name of the book, I mentioned it last week, is The DNA Field and the Law of Resonance, Creating Reality Through Conscious Thought. The author is Pierre Frank, is a German. He says, every piece of information, every communication, every message has an influence on our DNA and leaves an impression in our collective cell structure. The news, whether on TV or in a newspaper, is nothing but a collection of negative communications. We learn about unemployment, floods, climate catastrophes, energy crises, bank closures, terrorist attacks, and the possibility that we ourselves could be the target of such an attack. This is only a small selection of the terrible scenarios with which we are sent to bed. Do we hear the worst things imaginable, accompanied by the cruelest images that could be gathered from around the world? The news anchor smiles and wishes us a good night. What would a good night look like? TV news and newspapers are the best transmitters of fear, stirring up our collective anxiety and strengthening our disillusionment. Through them, we remain in a perpetual state of anxiety and self-protective fear, which our body can become overwhelmed by. Reading the newspaper or watching the evening news, we are guaranteed to always feel weaker and more powerless, no longer seeing things with any kind of perspective. Remember, like attracts like. When we get caught up in fear energy, we draw in the experiences that confirm our fears. Through our fears, we create exactly that which scares us. The news has an insidious effect. It is not all easy to get out of the cycle of fear and low or high level anxiety induced by the media, because the activation of stress hormones shrinks our ability to think clearly. Furthermore, every information bite, every communication, every message has an influence on our DNA and leaves an impression on our cell structure. All information storage and problem solving takes place in the forebrain. This is the seat of reason and logic. Reflexive, logical activity has its place in the hindbrain. With that, stress hormones can go to work very quickly in an emergency, constricting the blood vessels in the forebrain. The result is we don't think clearly anymore. Beyond that, stress suppresses the center of deliberate action, which is in the front cerebral cortex. Under stress, we have a reduced intelligence and conscious perception. Okay? Under stress, we cannot think clearly and make conscious decisions. It is therefore extremely hard to come out of fear energy and generate a positive resonance field. But that's not all. When we fall asleep with fear and stress, we take this energy into our sleep awareness and store it. Current research on the brain has revealed that what goes into our consciousness is stored into our memory at night. This means that the closer the experience occurs, that when you go to sleep, the more intense it will be built into your memory. And when the experience involves fear and anxiety, it will be that much closer to your reality. That which might seem harmless really has an enormous significance. Okay?
Yeah.
So the programming that's taking place is being done.
On the subconscious.
On the subconscious. Okay.
On the subconscious level.
And then what happens in some scenarios, such as the one that I just shared with you, because I witnessed it, when some people watch the news and hear all of these terrible things, they hear that ISIS is about to take over Baghdad, they go right into their Bibles. And coincidentally, you know, when they go and dive into the Bible, that's when the next level of programming takes place, okay? Because inside of that Bible, you know, it might be giving you some programs that's going to take you further down the
They got the Illusphere program set up. So you feel like you're on a roller coaster ride headed straight to it. Oh, we headed to Armageddon. Look at what's going on in Damascus and Syria. They already put it in there for you. You know, as marked as the indicators. When you see this, you know, it's a wrap. Yeah.
Exactly. It's marked as an indicator to tell Christ, hurry up and come. Get this shit over with. Destroy it. They're in Syria. They're in Baghdad. They're in Damascus. They're in the places that is lined up in your Bible. Israel is in conflict. The same, you speak to an elder right now about the Zionists or the Ashkenazis that are in Israel, and they say that that's God's chosen people because the Bible told them that. Are you serious? When bombing those children in Palestine, you'll have Christians saying that's God's work. This is supposed to happen because Revelation comes after that.
Mm-hmm.
Programming our people.
Right.
They'll turn a blind eye to that, and then they'll say that they'll turn a blind eye to that, and then tell you the Black Lives Matter. They'll turn a blind eye to that. They'll look at all the destruction that's taking place with people, with children getting droned in Yemen and children getting droned in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all of these places, and you have no idea about the melanated aboriginals that live in those lands. You have no idea that quote-unquote black people are living over there. You have no idea what they're doing to the people in Israel of African descent. You have no idea that there's people of African descent all over the Middle East, and they're getting droned too. You just think that it's that Arab. You know what I mean?
They're the first ones getting droned, and now because they have the ISIS threat popping, they have the Europeans, destroying the refugees that are fleeing Libya and places like that and trying to cross the Mediterranean. So they have all of these excuses because they already went on the ethnic cleansing in Libya when they was after Gaddafi's head, Yeah. So you see this repeated campaign against people to look just like me and you. But,
globally,
why don't our people just say American Black Lives Matter? You know what I'm saying? Because that's all they fucking mean, part of my French. You feel me? That's all they mean.
They're not talking about black people everywhere.
They're not talking about melanin under attack. They just can't be, you know. And even in quote unquote Black America, rap lives matter. Why don't they just say that? Because when a rapper dies, that's when people get sympathetic. That's when the celebrities come out and sound somber. That's when statements get made. You feel me? So it's one hell of a program that's being perpetuated, you know, in the eyes, in front of everybody, for those with eyes that can see. You know, even with the media disparity of their reporting and things of that nature. You know, with the fiasco down in Waco, all of this is for response and reaction. I've never in my life saw mainstream media report a news story the way that it's being reported on social media. You know, this is all, they're just washing people's subconscious. They're just implementing and implanting all sorts of thought patterns to lock people into this narrative. It is crazy.
This is inception. So they're going deeper and deeper and deeper, all into the subconscious to plant, you know, suggestions and their affirmations. We spoke about the fallacy, or rather the linguistic sorcery behind the hashtags that our people have, you know, so easily and so willingly adopted. Such things as I can't breathe. Such things as hands up, don't shoot. Such things as, you know, am I the next one to die? You know, no justice, no peace. These, family, are affirmations. Okay? These are affirmations. And I'm gonna speak to you on how affirmations work, okay, in case you did not know. Successfully wishing is nothing other than a very appropriate way for us to program our own code, whether through positive affirmations, autogenius training and meditation, auto-suggestion, or hypothetical visualization. Our DNA can always receive and store this information. Remember, there are no boundaries. The only true boundaries are in our heads. It is really the power of human belief that allows us to be that which we believe. When there is a desire to be healthy, you do not deny the illness. Instead, you enable your self-healing powers. We mentally replace the vibration of illness by visualizing pictures of radiant health and generating the resonance of health. And so, rather than suggesting to our body that there is something wrong with it, we allow the energy of health, as generated through our emotionally held beliefs, to work in our body. The body reacts to the smallest thought impulses. When we believe in our health, we can then induce the body to mobilize all of its self-healing powers on all levels. What many ultimately believe or wonder once they have regained their health is really not a wonder at all, but rather a confirmation of how strong the power of thought really is. So, with that being said, have we positively affirmed that everything is going to be all right? Have we positively affirmed that we can breathe? One brother lost his life.
Have we positively affirmed what justice even looks like?
Good point.
You don't dwell on the problem. You dwell on the solution as a collective. You don't affirm what the problem is. You don't give energy and resonance to the problem. That's backwards. That is a Western mentality that they have programmed our people to move with, and they don't even use that. They don't even move like that. They don't believe that themselves. That's a program, family. You cannot affirm to the cosmos and the universe that I can't breathe. When breath is the ultimate, if I stop you from breathing.
It's the source of life.
It is the source of life. It is the source of life. You can go without water. You can go without food. You can go without Nintendo. You could go without the internet. You could go without all of these things. But if I take your breath from you, you will expire.
Right. Spirit means breath. You know, breath is the life force. You know what I'm saying? It's what connects you to the intangible. You know, the parallel realms that we are intertwined with of spirit, you know what I'm saying, through breath. It's how you tap in. And it's also how you tap out when you lose it. So, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. Affirmations are positively formulated statements that one can constantly repeat like a mantra. They serve to strengthen and enhance one's life's goals, but in reality, they affect significantly more than this. Affirmations are the fastest way to build the ideal resonance field to realize our wishes by reprogramming the brain, especially since they can be used anywhere and at any time. Affirmations help us to transform our belief in the fastest way possible. So look, if it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter. Affirmation is an affirmation. Okay? So when there was a march in New York City with 500,000 people, Europeans, Indians, African Americans, all of these colorful terms, all of the nationalities came out, and they affirmed in the group that they can't breathe. You have people laying down on the highway talking about they're dying in. I'm a scientist, bruh, and I'm a realist, and I'm just one of those people who just look at things for what it is. And I know that was one of the illest programs ever perpetuated amongst our people who obviously don't understand who and what they're up against. Now, the illest part about all of that, because I know some people might be in their feelings right now because they got the Black Lives Matter T-shirt. They might, that might be they hashtag and everything, and that's cool. But all you have to do is go online and put into Google, because Google is the master teacher right now. Don't take my word for it. Go to the master teacher. Put George Soros, $30 million funding activist. If you don't know who George Soros is, Google or Wikipedia him and do the research on him as well. Now, when it comes, the information is coming out that the slogans were created by these groups and these think tanks, and these tea parties and these Europeans who have not one of your interests in their hands. It's all about the bottom line with them. They don't give a goddamn about your babies. They don't give a goddamn about your empowerment. They don't care about you breathing, none of that. They made up those slogans, family. They helped fund Black Lives Matter. They sent protesters in buses and planes. They footed the bill for those people to show up to make Ferguson a 24-hour news cycle. They paid for the 24-hour news cycle. How about that? All right? You remember Ferguson, where the armored vehicles came down, where they started telling our babies and everybody else that we were endangered species and that we were a threat and then our lives were at stake and all of this other stuff? Well, that's not even the case. That's not even the case. Okay? That's not the information that you're supposed to tell the babies who have fertile minds, who are looking at a melanated man in a position of power and his wife and his daughters and things of that nature. You don't tell them that in the midst of a technological boom. You don't tell them that in the era of information. You don't tell them that. You don't signal them out and put them at the bottom of the totem pole. You lift them up. You lift them up. You could have held a rally where you were saying that you was giving that $30 million into the programs to teach the children how to code, to teach them how to program, teach them how to app develop, to teach them how to do anything, to send them overseas for a cultural exchange so they could teach people overseas hip-hop and things of that nature, empower us. No, they spent $30 million on a fear campaign. So that's what we're dealing with right now. So what you're going to see is that being perpetuated. It started with Trayvon Martin. That's when the whole program started. Coincidentally, February of 2012, when it was the right time to do a lot. They said the world was going to end around that time. That was the right time to start programming people, you know what I'm saying, for the things it is that they're doing. People wearing hoodies and buying Skittles and, Arizona's being very passive and things of that nature. You know what I mean? Being very passive with their hands up. You understand what I'm saying? Talk about, am I next? You're asking the universe, am I next?
yeah, you just might be next. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask those questions. That's not the kind of question that you need to ask. And that was a grand ritual. I did a show on Blog Talk Radio where we got into it called the Trayvon Factor. I did part 1 all the way up to 3.
Yeah.
And I tried my best to show.
It's that brother's born day today, so we want to pay homage
to
his
Mike
life.
Brown's,
and
Mike Brown's born day.
Oh, he's Mike Brown's. My bad.
And in hindsight, when you look at it, they said that the young man was a thug, and George Zimmerman had every right to do what he did. George Zimmerman has been arrested 6 times ever since. You understand what I'm saying? And they never once called him a thug. They never had a 24-hour news coverage on him. They never said that we need to put him behind bars. He's still walking, terrorizing the earth. And there's
he's been doing stuff ever since.
I could go further, but I won't, because we got to stay on topic, because I got a special some special fire for that situation and for the lack of action on our people's behalf, because he just got assaulted by a European. There was a road rage accident. The thing got shot in the face by a European, though. But I'm sure that he pulled up on a bunch of Negroes ever since he got off killing that young black man. You understand what I'm saying? He been driving all around Florida. I'm sure he pulled up at the traffic light many a times on our own. He went to 7-Eleven and stood behind or stood on line with many brothers and sisters. Nobody put a hand on him. Nobody had words to say to him, anything. I ain't see nothing on World Star. You know, I watched all the fight compilations, just looking to see if we could see a Zimmerman fight. Ain't none show up. So,
he ain't get Kimbo Slice?
He ain't get Kimbo Slice. And I'm saying that amongst I'm saying that because we live amongst people who identify themselves as savages. We live amongst people who identify themselves as goons. They look at us crazy when we're walking by with their pants hanging down and their faces full of tattoos. They'll look at you with the screw face like, nigga, I'll kill you right now if you keep looking at me. We live amongst those people, but they can't find it in their heart to do anything, you know what I'm saying, any kind of justice for anybody that's being unjustly done. They don't believe in that. So, but they'll terrorize their own. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the fact that subconsciously, subliminally, our brothers and sisters are being programmed to be the worst part of themselves, okay? Through media, through culture. Go ahead.
So, Red, how would we go by effectively reprogramming, okay, as far as all this what you're talking about, understood indeed?
All right, cool. One instant that I would say is an effective part of reprogramming, because I spoke about the media earlier. I shared with you about the power of the evening news, the negative effect of the evening news, the negative effect of the morning and the afternoon, the negative effect of reading these papers that double as gossip rags, as well as, negative programming. But the alternative that has been created is shows that we're on right now. Shows such as Know the Ledge Radio, Know the Ledge TV, Sinetta TV, Eighth House of Conscious, Amin Ra Squad, Baba TV, Blue, you can name a few, Underground Railroad with Brother Rich. I could go on for days.
The Zoa show. Our brother Sabir Bey has a show out of LA. And there definitely are others, you know what I'm saying? You could go into the archives, get some of that like it is in your bloodstream. You know what I'm saying? Dig into the archives, they classics.
Okay, indeed.
So
that's
No, go ahead. Good, Ray.
Because we live in an age of information, so there's nothing that I can say actually stop an individual from, obtaining information and news before he or she retires for the night. I don't have the power to do that. But all I could say is I could show them alternative outlets and point to them. When we do our radio show, we're not focusing on what people are doing in China, You know, we're not focusing on Vladimir Putin and things of that nature and the threats that he's giving. We're not focusing on the end of the world in 2012. We're not really giving energy to that stuff because it is what it is. We're not focusing on ISIS and the Taliban because, it is what it is. They're going to do what they do. This is a theater.
Right.
This is a movie. You know what I mean? These things happen. So we're focusing on self-transformation. We're focusing on the journey. We're focusing on knowing thyself. So we isolate ourselves from a lot of those situations. We'll speak about it and demystify it and decode it and break it down and throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And keep it moving. There's so many things that were supposed to happen. There's so many meteorites that were supposed to crash into us. There's so many computer bugs that were supposed to, short circuit, and there were so many floods that were supposed to happen, and so many volcanoes that were gonna swallow us up. Like all of these.
So
things,
many, diseases that were supposed to decimate millions.
Yeah, there's so much Ebola that was supposed to get us, and our job on Know the Ledge and other outlets, because like I said before, we collaborate. We have no problem with collaboration. We enjoy collaborating with our brothers and sisters. We don't have no problems with anybody. We keep it peaceful. And we just share information. But we do our best to debunk and demystify and unplug our family from out of this matrix. Now remember, keep in mind, going back to what I was talking about 2 weeks ago, living in the electrified age, living in the age of information, in the electrified age where information travels at the speed of light. This is an interesting time. This is the age of information for real. Like it really manifested. So you have to be responsible for the deluge. You have to be able to filter your information. You have to be able to intake, as much alkaline information as possible. Or if you are an alchemist, you could take in, the base metal and you could turn it into gold. So you could take in a negative story and you'll be able to flip it. You feel what I'm saying? You'll be able to flip it. Like when I saw the Baltimore riots, people perceived that as a negative incident. The alchemist within me was like, oh, that's gold right there. That's the gold rush. We need to be able to send some representatives down there because those people are ready for some lessons. People are ready for some information. Those people are finally ready to turn things around.
They're ready for change. The community will be susceptible now to any business plans that you have. They'll welcome you with open doors. You know what I'm saying? Now you can implement. Now you can rebuild. You feel me? You can get in there and exploit all of those situations for the better. Not for exploitation reasons of the worst, but for the better. So these are grand opportunities. Ferguson was an opportunity to speak about municipalities and how they turn people into cash revenue. It was the perfect time to speak about the relationship between corporations and their quote-unquote citizenry. So these skirmishes and these news stories, again, present you with the best opportunities to appear, to show up. The thing is nobody's showing up. So the only thing you get is a lopsided coverage, and it just remains a stain.
Yeah, there was a news broadcast that came on, and they showed the Bloods and the Crips combining, and speaking intelligently, to the news. And
talk about it.
Lightning.
You heard them brothers?
I heard them, man. They had light in their eyes.
They sound so conscious.
Oh, man, it was beautiful, man. I was like, oh, man, I wish I could get to those brothers, man, because they were just so powerful. They wasn't thug looking. They didn't look like thugs or nothing. They just like intelligent, conscious brothers.
Super articulate.
And what I'm sharing,
we probably saw the same show.
What I'm sharing with you is this, family, that those brothers are articulate, and they're able to articulate themselves in such a manner of to show intelligence, because, like I said before, this is the age that we are living in.
do not underestimate the power of what is being done by the collective. I'm not even them brothers never had to watch one video. I'm going to show it. I'm sharing with you the power of the collective thought. I'm sharing with you the power of the field of resonance. If Negroes in Harlem wake up, Negroes in Baltimore wake up by proxy. It's all DNA. So it doesn't. They didn't have to watch one video. They didn't have to do anything. If they're aligned with their higher self, if they're part of our field, they are going to be waking up anyway. It doesn't matter. The only thing that's missing is the fact that we're not coming together physically to come into a circle. So if the Bloods and the Crips came together and showed that in front of the world to change, then the Nation of Islam and the Nation of Gods and Earth and the Moorish Science Temple of America and the RBG and the Hebrew Israelites, I'm naming organizations that might have 1 million members each collectively. Right. So if the Bloods and the Crips who do physical harm to each other,
the red and the blue, right?
The red and the blue, they got bodies in the ground. Man, there's a civil war that's taken place amongst them since the 70s. If they could come together, what's the bad blood between the conscious community? What blood is being shed on our end? I know in the 60s and the 70s they got violent and things of that nature, but up until now, I haven't really. The only blood that's being spilled is on the chat room and in Facebook, and there's no violence. So at the end of the day, the only thing that's holding the brothers and sisters back is ideology, ego, belief, and pride. So when we realize, we become more responsible as quote-unquote leaders in our communities, and we realize the power of thought and what it is that we're speaking and what it is that we're thinking, and the fact that when we're waking up, we're waking other people up just by waking up. If you go into a room as an enlightened and awakened person amongst people that are asleep, and you just go into you don't even got to say nothing. If you step into the room, your presence, the energy and the resonance field, your frequency and your vibration will change the whole room. It's like radio stations. You know what I'm saying? It's frequencies like that. You're able to change the whole frequency of the room with your presence. Don't say that. Don't wind up talking. If you start talking and building and dropping knowledge, I mean, come on. You know how many barbershops I was able to uplift just with some conversations? So we don't know the power of ourselves. We don't know the power of our thoughts. We don't know the power of our field of resonance. We don't know the power of DNA. We were not taught this in grade school. I don't know too many people that's even learning that in college with them loans that they're incurring. You know what I'm saying? This is information that is being taught in secret societies. This is information that's being taught inside of the lodges. This is information that's being taught, in other places where the information is considered arcane. But fortunately, like I said, we belong to the age of information, and Google is the master teacher, so you can teach yourself. You can have study groups. You could continue to learn through the internet, or you can hit the old-fashioned library and dig in and go in. You can have conversations with people across the world from your living room, your bedroom, or off your phone. I mean, the possibilities are endless. What it is that we are so...
Yo, family, I was just conversing on the phone with my people in China, and then we Skyped, and I'm looking at them, and then they invited me to a chat forum with over 100 other people, and the forum is called Blacks in China, and I'm conversing, asking people real-time questions, right? These are individuals from the States that have gone over to China to teach and to do business. I'm getting all my information, you know what I'm saying, on my phone. Wow. I got a $50 contract, B. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what is this? Like, where are we at with this? For real? We got excuses?
I want to get into this thing real quick. This passage is about thought. It's going to get a little deep. but, keep up with me, and I'm sure the family will be able to. We're going to break it down afterwards in layman terms. Can we influence our future through our thoughts? An unequivocal yes, we can do that, perhaps more so than we thought. Quantum physics has discovered something very exciting, showing again that we can essentially completely change our lives at any time and that we can make anything in life a reality. I spoke about the superconsciousness 2 weeks ago, and what I said is anything that you could perceive has already been created. Anything that you can think of has already been created. Anything that your imagination can perceive in your third eye, it has already been created. That's where the master teachers came and say, Bobby Hemmett, Phil Valentine, and them. You already won. You already won. You already got it. You just have to physically, actively, collectively get off your black asses or your aboriginal asses, or whatever you call it, and come together and push towards that ideal, that vision. You have to be visionaries. You have one of the illest computers ever created, all right? And that's your brain. And inside of your brain is your imagination. There's no nation better than imagination. So it's nation time. We have to tap into our imagination. We have to tap into the faculties of our mind. The European is doing it. The Asian is doing it. The African is doing it. The East Indian is doing it successfully. They're creating their future with their imagination. They're pulling shit down from the superconscious. They're pulling things down from the Akashic records. When somebody lied and told you that they couldn't, they could do that. They're doing it, and you can do that too. Don't feel bad. Don't feel left out. Don't feel like you're behind the race because you're the father.
Don't feel inferior.
Don't feel inferior.
You in this race. Yeah.
You in this race. As we now know, human beings transmit energy through their thoughts. All people do. We also know that energy with a certain oscillation attracts reciprocal energy. This is a logical effect. Since we not only attract people and events towards us, to do the same degree, we are also attracted by other people and events. The requirement is that both energies resonate with each other similarly. Now, quantum physics has discovered that so-called quantum waves, for example, our thoughts and beliefs work not only spatially but also temporally. They don't just spread out in space, they also spread out in time, as in the term time waves. There are quantum waves that are communicated from the past, future, that are known as normal quantum waves. There are also energy waves called conjugate complex waves that are communicated from the future to the past. It is truly amazing, but this is just how it is. The waves communicated towards the future are called propositional waves or offer waves. Keep the word offer waves. And those communicated in return towards the past are also called echo waves. When two such waves meet, that is to say when an echo wave out of the future encounters an offer wave from the past that we have put out there, one of the two waves will shape the other, bringing about what is known as event probability. According to quantum physics, the possibility that one event occur results from the meeting of an offer wave from the past and a matching echo wave from the future, according to translator, writer, and editor George Starkmuth in his book, The Making of Reality, How Consciousness Creates the World. To better explain, let's compare this to how a fax device works. When we send a fax, the machine first establishes contacts with another fax device and exchanges specific test signals. Only then, when both devices are on the same transmission waves, can the data be exchanged. According to George Starkmuth, the past and the future communicate in similar ways with each other through the meeting of matching signals, create a concrete event of higher consciousness at the midpoint, which is an experienced present. This means that not only does the past influence the future, but the future also influences the past.
our mind might have a hard time understanding this notion because we tend to see time in a linear fashion, meaning a straight path, and always from the past to the future. So now the opposite should be possible. John G. Kramer's theory not only has been confirmed multiple times, it has made specific paradoxes in quantum physics explicable. The truth of the non-linearity of time means the future is not less real than the past. So if anybody has saw the documentary What the Bleep Do We Know, or if you saw the movie X-Men From Future to Past, I believe that's the last X-Men that came out.
Days of Future Past, yes.
Days of Future Past.
Uh-huh.
It showed you that you can affect by going back in time. They were able, in the movie, they were able
or
to...
if you saw this, this old movie called Back to the Future? Yeah.
Back to the Future? Yeah. So what it's saying is the future has been communicating with us, but the past has also been communicating with us as well. So now inside of the conscious community, you know, the rise of the consciousness over the past 100 years, we have our master teachers and our scholars and also our master students digging into the past, uncovering the past and reconstructing the past and, you know, simultaneously restoring that which was destroyed through reconstruction and the revisionist period, right? The reconstruction and the revisionist period of history was when the Europeans took all of the information, all of the right knowledge, and came up with their stories. This is pre-Hollywood. This was their pre-version of Hollywood on how to change the future or change reality by playing with the past. Then, when you had the invention of Hollywood, one of the first movies of Hollywood, to show you the power of propaganda was The Birth of a Nation. And with The Birth of a Nation, they showed you with D.W. Griffith's movie, The Birth of a Nation, it was a propaganda movie that was false. They falsified reality. When you get into the book, or when you get into the documentary, The Empire Their Own, which spoke about how the Jews, the Eastern European Jews from places like Germany and other places like the Caucasus regions and stuff like that came together in California and created what you know as Hollywood, which was and when they created the moving picture, they were able to successfully manipulate reality by doing such. They were able to successfully manipulate reality by telling stories about a time that never, ever existed.
Right. Google it, family. Google, the American Dream. They created what you consider and call the American Dream. This is not conspiracy. This is historical fact. It was a Hollywood creation. And when we mean Hollywood, we mean the Eastern Jew, the Eastern European. They did that in order to fit in with the aristocrats, the aristocratic, the blue bloods. First they was appealing to the aristocratic Eastern Jew because they were the peasantry, came from the lower rungs of Eastern Jewry. So they had to compete with the upper rung Germans and the upper rung aristocratic Jews that was over in California doing, they was filthy rich. They had brought the riches over, and they was getting money and living like aristocrats. And then they had the blue bloods who were the WASP over here in this country who never would accept them because they were Jews. So they created a false dynamic. They created a false reality to kind of like put themselves in and to pay homage to the ideal of what they felt Americanism was. And thus they created, yes.
Mm-hmm. The Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the Fords. These are the robber barons that they call them. These are your blue bloods. These are your white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. These would be for conspiracy theorists and things that these are your Freemason Illuminatis. All right, if that satisfies, your conspiracy theorist self. These bloodlines or these families were in control of the majority of wealth. These were the policy makers and things of that nature. These are who these Eastern European Jews were appealing to sit at the table with.
So the myth of the American dream, the myth of the great white hope of America was created through the lens and the cameras of Hollywood. This should be known by everybody, if it's not already. So we're saying all of that to say that I'm giving you a level of quantum physics. We're showing you quantum physics, which is metaphysics, same thing. And we're showing you a level of sorcery, Kabbalah, mysticism, all intertwined in one, and something so simple that you call a movie. Okay? Now, if we fast forward to today, let's go into the 70s, and then let's go up into right now. Now, in the 70s, power era, post-civil rights era, you had the rise of what is known blaxploitation films. Blaxploitation films were the first time that our people were ever able to go into movie theaters and see images, 100-inch screens, images of our people putting their hands on white folk. Okay? Like, scratch all of the other exploitation things that were taking place in those movies. What you were seeing was the fact that you had masculine black men, you know what I mean, who were still masculine, who still had versions, their warrior selves, putting their hands on Europeans. Post-civil rights, post-turn-the-cheek era, post-passive aggressiveness, post-we shall overcome. That did something to our people, okay? That created a mentality within our people that we were some bad mofos, you know what I mean? Like, that made us stick out our chest. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't know how many people are from that era, but I'm from that era. We were born in the 70s and in the 80s, and even in the time when we were teenagers, that mentality and the way that black men were carrying themselves and the way that they would handle their oppressor or the opposition, that they were still carrying out that program from those blaxploitation films. They had no problem whatsoever. There was no hindrance for them to put their hands on Europeans if they got in their way. Or
none.
To even put their hands on Europeans if they were hungry, if they needed something to eat. It was like, let's think about the food chain. Okay, let's just put it into layman terms. The food chains. Our people were at the top of the food chain in New York City at that time. That's how they saw themselves. They were at the top of the food chain. So when they went out to eat, they would see other deer and things like that and gazelles, and they'd chase them down. And that's what they were eating from. And then later on down the line, you had Hollywood, or rather the Jew, or other people come in and take over blaxploitation films, and that's when the buffoonery took place. That's when the buffoonery was happening. That's when they were really using those movies to degrade our people and to throw our people into a very negative light. Then Superfly came. My father told me the impact of Superfly. He said brothers went into Superfly with afros and came out with perms and Coke spoons. Then Scarface came.
Right.
So
even to the point in our interview with Freeway Ricky Ross, he clearly said, yo, I got into the dope business because I saw Superfly and that's who I wanted to be. So this program, again, right, was downloaded in his consciousness, his subconsciousness, and he had committed himself, his mentality, his life force, and his resources to say, this is the life I'm going to live. And thus, when he had the opportunity, to jump out with a product such as crack cocaine, which came from, apparently from what he said, he's the one that implemented the whole aspect of adding the baking soda to it. You know what I'm saying? He was able to create such a diabolic product, that, for what many people would tell me, nigga, he saved the hood. You need to stop with that shit. So any which way that you see it or flip it, this is what his motivation was. That program, that movie.
Ready to drop those?
Yeah, right. Continue, because you was going somewhere with it.
Yes, I was going there. What I was talking about is we didn't even begin to touch the slave movie. Now, I was using all of that to build up to get to the slave movie. Okay? Now, the slave movie is a direct, it's the most easiest way to show you how they were able to program or reprogram your past and directly affect your future. Now, prior to Roots, right? Prior to Roots, if you speak to anybody down south, any of the family who has family down south, not anybody, but especially the family that lives in the Gulf region, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, and other places, and then you go into Tennessee, you go into Georgia, the Geechee, the Gullah, you know what I'm saying? You go into other places. Our ancestors said that they were here before the Europeans showed up, okay? The majority of the ancestors was like, we ain't coming no ships. We was already here, handling our business, doing what we do, trading, doing commerce with anybody that came through, allowing other people to, through treaties and whatnot, to trade and to trap, fur, tobacco, and all of these other things. Alex Haley comes out with Roots, and everybody was a slave, according to this nigga. Everybody came on the ships. Everybody was a slave. Everybody was subservient. You ain't seen no Negro uprising. You ain't seen no free. Come on, bro. And then when you go, and then when you find out later on, all things come to light. That he was a fucking agent. He was pardon my French. He was CIA.
Sure was.
So why is a CIA agent getting all of this backing? He did the Super miniseries. That my father told me the streets was clean when Roots was on. The streets was just empty. Everybody watched it. And he began. Huh?
I mean to cut you, but that Roots was a mass programming. It was on every night. Okay, for 2 weeks. It programmed the whole nation. Okay, that's what that was all about.
So that rocked our parents. And then you had things like crack cocaine and other things come, or the rise of the urban drug dealer and the pimp and all of these other things. They began to get leeway and things of that nature. I'm saying that the fact that they changed your history, that they manipulated your past, family, that they were able to go into your subconscious and denationalize you or dethrone you or take you completely out of the context through your DNA of who you originally are and put you in a place where you're not, that had an effect on your future. Now, fast forward to the last 10 years, why the hell and how the hell do we get all of these influx of slave movies? What's the what's behind all of that? Why are you getting 12 years a slave? Why are you getting the butler? Why are you getting the help? But you never got a movie about Malcolm. You got Malcolm. You never got nothing about Elijah. You never got Marcus. You never got Nat Turner's movie. You never got the Black Wall Street story. You never got Selassie story. You know what I'm saying? You never got nothing. They never mentioned the only time they mentioned the Moors was in a damn Martin Lawrence comedy and in Robin Hood. You ain't get nothing about the Moors. You didn't get Hannibal. Multi-million-dollar budgets was spent on showing your ass in a subservient.
You ain't get Mansa Musa?
You didn't get Mansa Musa. You didn't get a cartoon with your face on it. The Japanese, who got bombed by the Europeans, completely annihilated in World War II, right? All of their cartoons got white blonde-haired people in it.
Sure do. That's right.
But they want to break dance and pop lock, wear locks and shit. They want to go over to Jamaica and surfboard all day. But there's no cultural exchange taking place. They worship these Europeans. How is that? They don't even create characters that look like us, but they eat off of the culture. They want to be reggae. They want to be hip-hop. I seen the Japanese James Brown. But they gave you...
They got a Japanese culture out right now specifically mimicking black youth. They got the young generation. And
yes.
I forgot what they call it. It's a name. And they want to be black. It's in Japan.
Yeah, I remember them. The Barbie something.
Yeah.
And there's no cultural exchange whatsoever. Even in China, even in places in Europe, even all of these places where they could, if we knew what culture we belong to, if we accepted the fact that hip-hop is ours and it's $1 trillion global phenomenon, and it was created in the Bronx by Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation, and this is ours, and we're not supposed to be poor and impoverished, and we're not supposed to be going through all of the things that we're going through, and these Europeans are not supposed to be reaping all of the riches. It took us 40 years to create a billionaire in hip-hop. Come on, man. You trying to tell me that these Negroes ain't asleep? How it took 40 years to create a billionaire in hip-hop? I could do the math right now and show you how by selling a $20 album, you could become a billionaire like this. And the Negroes ain't making $1 billion in hip-hop? Do you know how easy that was supposed to be? So going back to the programming that took place, how they easily have manipulated our past, and by doing such, you're seeing in modern day times the results of that. Please tell me that this shit don't feel like we living in a Jim Crow era. Is that not what people are saying on CNN? When they had the Selma March conveniently 40 years, and they're like, what has changed? And then they volunteered and said, nothing has changed? 50 years, yeah. 50 years? And they're like, nah, ain't shit changed. It's the same thing. But all they doing is showing you through the movies, through the TV shows, it was an influx of that shit. All of this slavery stuff, all of this subservience. You would think, if somebody's not educated, you would think, and this is what they told us in grade school when they committed crimes against humanity. They told you that your history started with slavery. We should go back, each one of us, and file a writ or create some kind of legal instrument or whatever and charge them with crimes against humanity for blatantly programming your mind for destruction. They lied to you. And you can prove that now. But you'll let that shit roll over your back because you don't know the significance behind it. You don't even think that you don't see the weight of that. You have no idea how they destroyed your future by destroying your past.
Subconscious programming.
This is the part of the show where you drop the ball. Yeah. We wasn't on slaves, family. When you look at the 13 colonies, they were along the shorelines of America. Okay, the European was not allowed to leave the land, or he would get scalped, or they would take his ass for slavery. There were more European slaves in America in the 16 and 1700s than there were Negroes. Did they show you that in the movie? Go get the book. They were white and they were slaves. Go get the book, Muslim Masters, White Slaves. It's on Amazon. Please don't take my word for it. Go to the master teacher Google. He will show you the way. They were not allowed, all of the, when you look at the colonies, all of them were along the shoreline of America. You have in your perception that they had cities back then. Those cities that are bad, that with these imaginary borders that we live inside, those were not the same places. The shit was not as large as that during the time of slavery. There was a plantation, there was a fort or a garrison, and that was it. And they traded, up and down the seashores. And they traded. They took their horses and would ride them up and down. But they were taken captive. They was getting washed up. They was getting washed the hell up. They never defeated the Seminoles, 3 wars. They never defeated the Geechee and the Gullah in Georgia. They were not allowed to venture into the swamps. They were not allowed to venture forth into the forest. So the Europeans, they had their own people as indentured service. They sent criminals from Europe over to the Americas in the 1600s to share the land, to work the land. They would convict you and ask you, did you want to go into the prisons or did you want to go to America? 60% of them was like, put me in the goddamn prisons. I'm not going to America. Okay? They were dying from heat exhaustion. They were dying from diseases. They was dying from all kind of stuff. They was dying from starvation. Come on, man. So how the hell are you giving this narrative or this story that millions of us was inside some goddamn slave house, shackled and chained, yes sir, yes massa. Nobody was doing shit outside of that. I mean, come on, man. Really? Really?
No, really. Programming. That's what it was.
So, 100 years from now, do you know
they're
what
juxtaposing? They're juxtaposing the slavery story with the prison story.
You know what I'm saying? 100 years from now, they're going to say, in 2015, with a black president, because I know people be like, yo, how was there black presidents before and they had slaves, them niggas were sellouts, and how was there free black people and they had people on their plantation, those people were sellouts, I don't like them. You are retarded. You don't even know what you're speaking about. You have no concept whatsoever about history. You're putting it in a modern-day context because 100 years from now, they're going to say there was a black president and 2 million slaves. I promise you. Because if you're incarcerated, you are legally a slave. It's in the 14th Amendment. I mean, the 13th and the 14th breaks that down. You're a slave. What is the prison complex industry but a plantation? That's modern day slavery. It's in the Constitution. I didn't make that up. So when they say 50 years from now there was 2 million slaves in the American borders of the United States of America, and then there was 40-some-odd million, or whatever the number is, free black people, Negroes 100 or 50 years, 100 years, they be like, oh, they sold us out. They sold us out. I don't believe that. Yeah. How could they walk around and there was no?
I think it'd be like they were slave owners because they're going to show you that Michael Jordan owned stocks in the private prison complex.
They're gonna show you the videos, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, there was black overseers." They're gonna show you pictures of captains and lieutenants that are in the correctional department. Oh, how can our people do that to us? It's the same concept that was going on back then, bro. Come on, man. Come on. So until we correct our history, you got to correct your history on the screen. All of that, the lectures and shit is cool and everything, great, kudos. Negroes need epic movies, though. You got to reverse. You have to reprogram the mind that already has been programmed.
Indeed. I'm in agreement. Ray, can you touch on collective economics? You're rolling into the half an hour mark from the end, so
all right,
what's the
easy.
Sound of collective economics a little bit.
Collective economics. We live in a digital era. We live in a digital age, okay? There are collectively people coming together online to gossip and to talk crazy and to poke women and to watch women twerk and all of that. That's great. Do what you do. But if you don't come together collectively to share wealth or to build wealth or to put your pennies or your dollars in a bucket and let it add up, then come to me later on down the line and say, brother, what was you doing for us? Or what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for the collective? Earlier, I spoke about the Bloods and the Crips coming together. Then I mentioned, I ran off a few names of organizations that exist amongst us that we all should be familiar with. You have the Nation of Islam, who has an enormous body of membership. You have the Nation of Gods and Earth, who also have an enormous body. You have the Moorish Science Temple of America with all kind of temples everywhere. And then you got other Moors that don't belong to the temples. And then you have Pan-Africans who told us that they were going to Africa. I haven't seen proof yet. You got the RBGs who are black power militants. Then you have the Nile Valley civilization, brothers that respond to the whole Kemetic narrative and things of that nature, Hotep, right? And then you have other brothers and sisters that belong to the metaphysical and the occult community. Now, if we all realize, then you got the Hebrew Israelites, who, in my humble opinion, I think, based on what I've been seeing over the past few years, they might got more numbers than everybody because they come out the woodwork.
I know.
Now,
they've been growing. All right.
They've been growing. Now,
they've been growing.
If we don't create a collective treasury utilizing the social networks that have been given to us by our ancestors, that's a whole nother lecture, you know. But I spoke about it on the show before about Ptah being the one who is governed. He governs all technology and things of that nation, that nature, the Netzer rules and whatnot, and the fact that, you know, that the whole goddamn everything that's coming out of all kind of technology is coming out of the caves and the grounds of Africa anyway. Why they couldn't use something from Europe or Asia? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason behind that. And the whole mathematical principle of the binary, the computer language, the yes and the no, the one and the zero and the one, the true and the false, that's all us. We do that. That's what we've been doing, okay? So if we don't utilize technology, which can assist us in our evolution and then our revolution, then we deserve what we get. Okay? You got to stop playing games and start making games. We got to stop, you know what I mean, being customers and being producers. So first and foremost, before we do anything, before we go anywhere, we have to pool our resources. If 30,000 people come together and put $20 up, you will make $600,000. Do that weekly for 4 weeks, create a treasury, and then we will be able to delegate all kind of affairs at that point. That is not hard at all. I have a brother Rich from the Underground Railroad, has 69,000 subscribers. If 30,000 of them were serious about their future and their baby's future and now, they could put $20 up on Friday. If they cannot afford $20 for the evolution of our people, then what are they doing? What are we doing? Why are we even in this thing? And if they don't have it, if there's a reason that they don't have it, then they could utilize. They could be utilized for something else. We all have skill sets. We all have skill sets. We have to have a grand gathering. Forget a lecture. Forget a debate. Forget a concert. We need to have a gathering. Okay? The Negroes do it. They come together all-star weekends. Niggas came together for the you know how much money was wasted at the Pacquiao Mayweather fight? You know how much money got tossed? Do you know how much money collectively is going to be spent in the strip clubs around Negroville, America tonight? Do you know how much money is going to be spent on bottles in every bar and club in America tonight? So they can't complain. The days of that, I'm not trying to hear. I mean, somebody else can hear it. I'm just not trying to hear it. I know that our people have expendable income, and they utilize it in the most retarded ways imaginable. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was listening to Brother Umar.
So this is going to take.
Let me say this, Red. Let me say something. I listened to Brother Umar Johnson speaking one time. He said if black families could just save their Christmas money, okay, about maybe $1,000 per family, we can change our condition overnight, just with Christmas money.
And the reason why I brought up the conscious community and the organizations that consist of the conscious community is the fact that I'm not going to put this on the shoulders of the people who are considered the walking dead or the sleepers. I'm not going to get at them yet, because when they see the community with a $2.2 million treasury, and we're building and we're buying land and we're building and doing other things, they will immediately get in line. When we're going overseas with 100-person delegations to Asia, into Africa, into India, forget the Europeans. Let's talk technology. The headquarters, the brainchild of all technology. Everything is taking place. If you get an app built, they're doing that shit in India. If you want some kind of things done manufacturing-wise, they're doing it in Asia. If you need resources and other things and land and you need manpower and stuff, they're in Africa. So why are we even focused on the European? He's not even in the equation. You feel what I'm saying? They rock with him. They rock with him because you're not there. He's not. They rock with him because he comes in your name. He comes as an American. He's a European that lives in America. He's not American. Okay, let's get that straight. You're not getting on the plane. You're not getting on a plane with suitcases filled with money trying to do business. Niggas is getting on the plane with suitcases filled with money going to buy cocaine and weed and heroin. That's the dumb shit that they doing. And they becoming slaves. Okay? They're wasting income and they're wasting their money, so I can't cry tears for these niggas no more. I cannot. I can't. I can't. I'm not losing sleep over the retarded shit that's being done because our people are being programmed to destroy themselves, and they belong to a death culture. We have to change that around. But those of us that are responsible, that said that we want to be conscious and we want to be smart and we love the babies and we want to make something happen in the future, I just explained to you, let me just read this one passage. The future already exists somewhere out there. Otherwise, it could not send any waves into the past, which is our present. And your future already exists right now in this very moment. Nevertheless, it is not predetermined because we each have different possibilities to choose from each to create a different kind of future. In fact, science has shown that the possibility exists that we can choose our future. So how does this work? That the future already exists. Does this mean it is already written? No, because our future already exists in countless versions. Science has made significant projects since 1980 when John G. Kramer made his initial sensational discovery. The common belief then was that only one reality exists, and accordingly that we only have one possible future. Meanwhile, scientists were discovering that there are different parallel realities occurring at the same damn time. This, therefore, becomes truly interesting when we consider our successful wishing energy and our creative visualization. So we got, and I know they're going to be like, this nigga he's the twin pillars, the red and the blue. They one of those, they mumbo-jumbo in. They're not saying that we're supposed to pick up the guns. They're not militant enough for me. They're saying that no, I'm telling you, we need to come together, change our thoughts collectively. We need to visualize our future because that already exists. If you want it, you better go out there and grab it because they are going to create their future collectively. And if you want to trump that, you got to come because, Negroes are sitting in the movie theaters getting programmed by their auto-suggestion, by the Europeans' visualization that no niggas exist in space in the future. It's one black person in Star Wars. Now there's two. There was Billy D. Williams. Now the new commercial, they got another dude who took over the Stormtrooper helmet. It's three. Yeah, they got Lupita, too. So you got the Stormtrooper. You got Lupita, and somebody else. So what I'm saying is, those of us in the community who said that we're responsible, it's time to stop playing games. If you want to start with 100 people, fine, let's do it. Then we could build, and then we could go to 1,000 people. I'm getting on a campaign this summer. I'm hitting the road, me and my brother. We're going to many different states. I got my brothers behind me. And we're going to show the people, look, put that $20 up. We need that. 30,000. That's not a lot of people. That is not a lot of people. All I'm saying, and we will have, believe me, we will have, because I know niggas is like, oh, they trying to buy Jordans and they're going to run with the money. Where am I going? We're going to have a treasury. It's going to be put together digitally. Everything is transparent. Not $1 will be spent without you being able to see. We might put it in Bitcoins because that's all transparency. Okay? You don't have to worry about it. We will elect leaders. We will elect elders to watch over the treasury. Then we'll be able to come together as a think tank. Then we'll be able to come together and sit at the table and to hash out whatever ideas that we have, and we'll be able to put forth things. We'll be able to hire thousands of people. Do you know how much it costs to start an LLC or a business? $500. $500. So you mean to tell me that each Friday, if we come together and put this money together, we can't create 1,000 businesses and start employing people. You got to crawl in order to walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to have a 10-year plan. I'm not doing, this shit is not about, I have long-term goals, family. This is not about, Dr. Ben died. He left this planet almost at 100 years old. He was putting in work from 20 years old. Dr. Sabian's doing a lecture on the 29th in Newark. He's in his 80s. You understand what I'm saying? He's doing this I'm doing this until I'm gone. So I have a long-term goal. I'm not in it to just jump out. I know that it's going to take a lot, but we have to work with each other. It doesn't matter about, I don't belong to any group. I belong to the future. That's who I belong to, okay? So we got to stop looking, oh, he's wearing an Ankh, I can't rock with him. If that's your mentality, then you will, I mean, if that's where you at with it, you have to sit down now and think about, am I going to watch the nightly news again tonight? Because that shit has programmed me to be a fear-mongerer, backwards thinking, pessimistic hater. I hate myself, okay? Because I've been programmed to hate myself. There's no reason to hate yourself. You have been given no reason to hate yourself. You need to love yourself, love your people, and love the idea of us winning in the future, or the now for that matter. That's just one simple concept. There's a few other ideas out there, but we have to collectively come together. I didn't do this lecture to say that it's about one person doing it. There's no one group that could do it. I'm sure many of us went and watched the Avengers Part 2. You see how all of those superheroes came together? Well, we superheroes as well. We cannot defeat Ultron without forming Voltron. I got to hashtag that, because that's what it's going to take. This beast or this entity and the work that they've done is so severe and so extreme that ain't no magical Negro coming out of the damn manger going to save you. It's not one person, ain't one group. All of us, family, because we all have the same ideas. We all have the same ideals. They're selling land right now, $80,000 for a city. They're selling acreage for, $100,000. We got brothers and sisters who know how to do certain things to acquire, land in other ways. We have to put our minds together. One mind is great. One mastermind is awesome. But what if 1,000 of us are thinking at the same time about the same thing collectively? And we That's really quantum. visualizing that. We're not playing games. We're not thinking about love and hip-hop. We're not thinking about the cocoa and none of that. We're just putting our minds visually putting it, no doubt in our hearts, no fear. We're just focused on our goals and our aspirations, and we're thinking about our babies smiling because we've accomplished something, and we're thinking about Malcolm X smiling. We're thinking about Marcus Garvey smiling. We're thinking about Huey P. Newton. We're thinking about all of the great ones, Noble Drew Ali, all of our ancestors who are rolling in their graves right now, finally having a reason to smile. That's what I want to do. Right. That's quantum mind you're talking about. Start doing. But that's now, the superconscious. Individually, we have to clean our minds up. We have to begin to clean our minds up. Facts. We got to study technology. Don't be afraid of it. Get into your study in technology. Study collaborative economies, trust economies, shared economies. Okay? Those are the new economies. Free economies. They call it free economy. Go and study that right now. Go online. It's free. Go and do the research. You will come up with models and concepts that they are using. One example, just give you one example, share economy. Okay, everybody's familiar with Uber. Everybody's familiar with Airbnb right now. They are using the business model of the share economy. It is $1 billion+ economy that is being utilized right now. Europeans are using ancient concepts that we used to use as Aboriginal indigenous people. They're applying it to technology, and they're winning. What is a share economy? A share economy says, I have a car that I could use instead of riding through the block and shit at 2 miles an hour, rims still spinning, trying to pick up a little, 16-year-old girl and I'm just playing. You know how people do, though. I'm trying to floss on my own people and ride around. No, them Europeans is like, yo, we got an extra car. We turn that shit into a cab. Uber, $1 billion. Okay? I got an extra room in my apartment. I'm gonna use my room like the hotel. Airbnb, $1 billion empire. That's called share economy. That's called if I got something extra, I'm gonna learn how to share it, and you can monetize that at this point. It's simple shit. It might be too simple for our people to understand. They might see a conspiracy theory in it, and then they just negate themselves at that point. But at the end of the day, that's on you, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, this makes sense. This makes sense. This makes sense. So all up and down and out the South, all throughout the South, all throughout the West Coast, the Midwest and stuff like that. You got all of these people with these empty rooms and stuff like that, and room and board, and they got people with cars, 3 or 4 cars in the garage. You now can monetize all of that. You don't have to be an Uber driver. You create your own. You don't got to be Airbnb. You could create a conscious Airbnb, because I travel a lot. I don't like going to no hotels. I could come and give you some bread to stay in the room and whatnot, so we could come into town and do some workshops and lectures and teach the people, because that's what this is about, getting out there and doing the work, and bring some of our other comrades with us so we could come and set up shop. It's so sad. It's so sad that you got brothers and sisters who go on these campaigns. I've been seeing brothers lecturing for decades now, and I have yet once seen a lecture where somebody had come to a town and set up a business for people in that town and then left. Maybe it happened. I ain't been on YouTube lately. I don't know. Maybe I missed out. But that's the shit that needs to happen right now. We need workshops. We need seminars. We need like career days, so we can come and hire our people and give them positions and jobs and training and things of that nature. It's at that point. But like I said, when you lack resources, and when you lack vision, and when you lack finances, you're going to see stagnation in the community. You're going to see us in the wheel spinning. You're going to see people just speaking about stuff for years and nothing happening, because the people are the people are going to be the ones who are going to save the people. All right? The power is in the people. Huey P. Newton said that the power is in the people, and I just showed you a super simple math equation. 30,000 people. It's like a susu. 30,000 people putting $20 up every week. You have $600,000 now to delegate and to do things with. You can't blame white people after that. There ain't no white people going to get in the way of that. Ain't nobody going to come in. The boogeyman is not going to show up and take your cookies. It's on you now. Yeah, they're not going to bomb your Black Wall Street. They're not going to bomb your bank account. You know what I'm saying? Like, cut it out. You feel me? It's on you. China is buying up America. Japan is buying up America. Saudi Arabia is buying up America. India is buying up America. The Koreans are buying up America. I haven't seen no goddamn tanks or warplanes deployed to go bomb them cities that they buying up. They got Europeans, got all kind of eco-villages, sustainable villages all around America. Ain't nobody coming up in there bombing them, so what are you talking about? Why are our people so scared, if we build something, they're going to come and bomb it? Well, goddamn it, if they do it, at least you tried. At least you attempted to do something. Don't that beat getting killed on the corner by the police, nigga? Don't that, you feel me? Since you telling me that's what my fate is anyway, come on now. Cut it out, man. Yeah. Self-perpetuating fear campaigns.
Ready, I want to open up the line to some calls. You got about maybe 16 minutes left. 646-929-0691. Anybody want to call in and ask Red or Blue Pill a question? You can do so. Yeah, y'all continue. Continue, Red.
You gonna open up the line?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you said you was gonna open up the lines.
Hello? Well, go ahead, continue.
Yes, and also, I forgot this. This is for the creators out there. The most important people in the community right now. And I apologize on behalf of all of the lecturers and all of the master teachers and all of the people who came before you and never spoke to you. I apologize for all of the lectures that you went through, and nobody never asked the people in the audience what the hell do they do. I apologize. I personally apologize for them, okay, because it was all about them. They got up there and did they dance, and they never ever considered the fact that you had videographers in the audience, graphic artists in the audience, 3D models, people who knew how to do that in the audience, screenwriters, playwriters, novelists, authors. All of these people came, musicians, but nobody allowed them to identify themselves. I'm speaking to them right now. I'm telling them, because we spoke about the power of programming. We spent this whole show giving you the ideas about the power of programming. Pay attention to what the brothers in New York City have been doing on YouTube. We took a camera in a tripod, set that shit up, press record, and recorded on 125th Street for the past 10 years, okay? No special effects, no 3D, no green screen, you know what I'm saying, no script. Ain't nobody writing out what to say, no scripts, nothing. Raw, gave it to you raw. I don't care if some people agree with what was said. Some people are like, oh, they, whatever. The shit got a wave. It's a tidal wave out there. It's a tsunami. It's global. It's galactical. I be getting messages from Sirius A and B. They say, keep up the good work. Okay? So with all that being said, if we could show you what the straight guerrilla media or guerrilla marketing can have an impact around the globe, what do you think you'd be able to do if you created an animated short film with the technology that's out right now? Don't front on me, because I know about the technology. I know about all of the programs that's out there. I can name a few. What's that? The ZBrush. We got the ZBrush the other day, where you could create all of these different images. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just all of these different programs that you create. Go online.
Maya, Corel Draw. There's so many. There's templates that are already prepackaged. You know what I'm saying?
Software. Yeah, put top 20 3D modeling software 2015 or top 20 free. The free ones are kind of fugazi. They got Blender. Blender is good, and some other ones, but top 20 3D modeling, and get with your hackers. There's nothing wrong with a hacker. You know what I'm saying? Make life easier. All right? And they'll be able to get you some programs for the law.
Hacker only means problem solver anyway.
The hacker only means a problem solver. They put negative connotations towards that. Don't worry about that. A hacker is a person who hacks a problem and solves it. Go to the hackathons. Be familiar with them. Go to meetup.com. Go to the hackathons. Go to the tech meetings in your town. Be a fly on the wall. Take a tape recorder or your iPad or your tablet and just record that shit and take it home and play it over and learn what they're talking about. Go online and research. Go to Google and research the words that they're saying. Inform yourself. So the brothers and sisters who can make short films, the brothers and sisters who can make webisodes and put them on YouTube, the brothers and sisters who can make a feature film, the brothers and sisters who can make a documentary, okay? The brothers and sisters who can put a green screen up and do something to show the history or the future, whatever it is. The brothers and sisters who could create a graphic novel, the brothers and sisters who could take the works of Octavia Butler, okay, Afrofuturist, Afro-surrealism, all right, get into that, okay? The brothers and sisters who could take the works that have already been done and adapt it for stream, okay? The brothers and sisters who could create novels based on some of the characters that you may already see in the conscious community or some of the stories that you may be familiar with. J.A. Rogers, Men and Women of Color, 100 Facts About the Negro. Why are you not taking that and doing something with it? Why are we not taking that and create? They got 3D printing machines. Why the hell are you not creating 3D toys? Why are we not doing nothing? But everybody's crying on Facebook. Everybody's complaining about it. And the European is laughing at you because everything that you need for your liberation is free. It's online. It's in your hand. And your niggas is sleeping. You don't know it. You don't even know what's available for you. Because why? I explained to you earlier. When you're in fear, your capacity, they cut your legs off. They castrated you. You don't even want to move.
Shut you down.
Punch the clock, get high. You know what I'm saying? Pop a pill or two and go to sleep and do it again. and swap. Girls on Facebook. you want swapping toxic.
That's not gonna make you swapping toxic. It's not gonna make it, family. That's not gonna get you into the future. Okay, it's not. You have to be creative. So the creatives out there, please get at me, kchillempowerment@gmail.com. We got to create crowdfunding campaigns for you. If the family, I don't understand how people are not successful with their crowdfunding campaigns. Why is that? Why do people even feel like they can't even go out there and ask for 100 racks, $50,000, $600,000, $500,000 amongst the people who need what it is that they're going to create to help them? I don't get it. Because I see all kind of campaigns failing out there. People don't even throw money. They're not even supporting it. So the creators have to come. I'm not going to give you the mad long lecture about what Hollywood is doing. I'm gonna give you a brief explanation of what they're doing, and I'm going to say reverse engineer that shit. Come up with a future where no white people exist. How about that? Let me see that movie. Huh? Come up with a future where you brought all of your ancestors back from the grave through DNA engineering and through the DNA bioengineering, where you resurrect King Tut, where you resurrect all of the master teachers, where you resurrect Malcolm X, where you resurrect Marcus Garvey.
Come up with the hot tub time machine where you go back into slavery times and you put working on the plantation. You feel me? And what the future will look like when you reprogram that past.
Yeah, you go back with your chopper and you do a drive-by on a plantation instead of your own people. Give me that movie or that short film. Be creative. That's what I'm saying. That's how you're going to change the future. You might be like, oh, this nigga is bugging. What are the twins smoking? They drinking too much alkaline water. That's what I'm talking about with the New York dudes. They don't want to do the work. They supposed to be protesting with hands up, don't shoot. They supposed to be having die-ins. I need to see them on the look. I ain't the one, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. That's not look. Don't do that. Don't do it to yourself. I got ether for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna throw my brothers and sisters under the bus to participate in that paradigm because I love them and I know that they're at the beginning phase of their consciousness. That shit is comparable to when we was watching Illuminati films in the 90s and watching and reading Jordan Maxwell and all of that stuff. You got to begin somewhere. So if you're going to begin protesting and stuff like that, cool. I'm a creative. I'm going to give you. You said no justice, no peace. I'm gonna show you a film where they take Zimmerman off the planet and how that shit where the police that hurt our babies, they get paid with street justice. I'm comfortable with doing some shit like that in film, of course. I'm not gonna incriminate myself on Blog Talk Radio and say that that's what we're gonna be out there doing. But put it in people's subconscious and they'll go ahead and form that reality in the reality because we live in what? A programmable matrix. We live in a programmable, illusionary reality. This shit is all illusion. It's all illusion. It's not real. Okay? It's not real. It's all light. It's all energy. It's not real. You could create whatever reality that you want to create. You have to manipulate matter. Learn how to do that. So my hashtag is dark matter matters. Okay? Dark matter matters. That's my shit. Excellent. That's what's going to get you up out of this. You got to manipulate dark matter. So we could go to the callers. I didn't mean to get all worked up and stuff like that. I'm a family man and things of that nature.
Bro, you're doing it tonight, man. You're going in for real. And, I'm sure the callers, appreciate, this knowledge that you're coming forth with, without question. And we definitely, enjoyed, you tonight. We coming in on the 4-minute mark. Now, during this time, I want you to basically go into, you mentioned before a few things that you brothers do, things that we can plug into as far as what you guys do, what you brothers do over the net and, abroad. And, just websites and, chat rooms and stuff like that where they can be programmed. Okay, hopefully everybody got their pens ready this time, and you can go over, maybe a few links.
Yeah. Like I said, we
Islam, before we go, I hate to And to you, Brother Kasim and the Pills, I really appreciate this, Brother Ezekiel. I'll call you all tomorrow. Thank you personally. But we can go. Let's see a blog talk and let us have that second hour, that last hour. You know, if y'all want to continue like that, okay? And, I'm going to mute out, and I got the board, and I appreciate y'all. Thanks a lot for coming on the Ring and Stone Network.
Well, at 10 o'clock, the class that we're in ends. So
okay,
we might need like a 10-minute slot. If you could play a music or something and allow the music to play for like 10 minutes while we do our commerce and wrap things up, and then we'll be able to continue with the family. I have no problem with that.
Okay, all right.
But going back to the question that the brother said, like I said, we're not just up here preaching and not, and not doing what we do. So we do media, we do fashion, we do music, we do health and wellness, because everything that I'm talking makes no sense if you're not healthy. All right? You're not going to even be able to resonate at such a frequency that you need to resonate to make things manifest if you are not healthy. So Brother Blue Pill is into health and wellness. My mother, Annette Thomas, who is a student of Dr. Sabi's, was one of the first persons to cure AIDS. That's on the record books, okay? Annette Thomas. She was responsible in Brooklyn in the 80s for curing AIDS, a man by the name of Frank White, homosexual, melanated man. So we sat at her feet, Dr. Sabi's feet, other elders who are into health and wellness, and we understand with no health, there's no wealth. With no health, there's nothing.
Right.
With no health, there's nothing. Our people are very unhealthy in so many ways, mentally, emotionally, physically, and all kind of other ways because of the food. They're programming it through the food, and they're killing the people through the all kind of stuff. GMOs, you know what I'm saying? Vaccinations, you know what I'm saying? The meat is poisoned. You know, you're seeing that every day when you go online and you study McDonald's, the human meat that they're selling, horse meat, fake meat, clone meat, sheep, whatever. You know what I mean? The stuff coming out of the seed is radiated. So, brother deals with sea moss, seventh heaven sea moss. The brother deals with alkaline water, soul gold water. The brother deals with monatomic gold drops. Okay. Blue, where you at?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Give him the name of the website for the health product.
Yeah, there's a variation of different liquid mineral drops. I got silver, which kills any fungus, antibacterial, antifungal. I have platinum, which actually amplifies the hypothalamus gland, which is responsible for over 300 different body functions. So you can go to soulgoldbiz.com, SOLEGOLDBIZ.com. Ocean14corp.com is with the sea moss in the water, and everything is at. I also make jewelry that incorporates the oldest thing on the planet, which is the minerals, the stones, and these stones are healing. They have medicinal spiritual properties. So we have mypowerpieces.com so that people can amplify their powers. Hello?
No, we got I was groomed in the womb. I'ma shine my light till they put me in my tomb. I'ma shine so bright they can see me from the moon. And my rhyme so tight you can see it in Sassoons. The Billy jeans, skinny jeans.
Nobody's actually went out and recorded a song about real pain. Pain.
Yeah. There's a time to kill.